what's the mood like? Are we continuing with the recovery, or is there a bit of a sell-off that we are seeing? Let's pull up the Nifty and see what exactly it's up to right now, because overall the market mood was steady, and that's how we are right now. Very, very range bound. So neither a big up move nor a downtick coming in. The Bank Nifty is flat as I have it for as I have it on my screen. SBI is the big outperformer though. So yesterday it was ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, some of those names were doing rounds. Today it's SBI, which is actually doing quite well for itself, and banking index will, as it is, be in focus on account of that MPC meeting outcome, which is expected within 30 minutes from here on. But time now to welcome Ravi Chidambar, the CEO of Tata Group, joining us on the show, the Tata Auto Components company as well. Hi, good to be speaking with you. To begin with, I wanted your take, Ravi, regarding what kind of opportunities you see in India for Indian OEMs, specifically in terms of the localization efforts that a lot of companies are doing. And not just that, a lot of export opportunity has also opened up. What's your take, and what kind of opportunity do you see for yourself?
Obviously, the auto sector is a great story from the auto components point of view. So there is a huge opportunity for exports, and the Indian auto component sector has been doing very well on the exports front. It's crossed more than $20 billion in exports. So this segment is growing. Apart from that, there are various OEMs who are global OEMs who are exporting the cars as well. So the direct export of cars is also going up. We have major names in the Indian automotive sector who are exporting cars now out of India. There is also the newspaper talk of Ford reopening their plant in Chennai for solely for exports is what we hear. So there is a massive opportunity for the Indian auto component sector to have direct exports as well as indirect exports. The aspect of localization, which you asked me, is an ongoing activity. So we need to look at two aspects of localization. One is just build to print kind of localization of parts which are being imported by way of technology transfer, or develop our own alternatives, our own technology in order to substitute the localization. Now, having come of age, there is opportunity in both the areas, and Tata Autocomp is well placed to reap the benefits of this localization of both types, like giving our own solutions to parts which are imported, and the other aspect of transferring technology and making it in India.
So with the slowdown in domestic PV sales and global OEMs cutting growth forecast, do you anticipate near-term weakness, and how is Tata Comp preparing for this?
There is a bit of a slowdown. It's also given the fact that there was a very high base of growth. There was a very high growth post the pandemic, and then the number of cars which were sold were very large. It was also due to people preferring personal transport over public transport, and there has been a slight slowdown in the last few months. But I think the long-term and the medium-term growth story is intact. There will be such small blips as we go along in this journey, and I don't think that this will last too long. So as far as Tata Autocomp is concerned, it is well diversified, it is de-risked, and all the segments which are there in the industry today, right from two-wheeler up to the buses and trucks, and even the auto adjacent sectors we are into, like generator sets and energy storage, are all in the Tata Autocomp's portfolio. Hence, although yes, there is a slight degrowth in especially in the passenger car segment, it can get more than compensated by the other businesses which we have. The global slowdown in the growth is not much of a effect for us, because I don't think we have a great share of the overseas market, and it's only that we need to keep increasing our penetration into the global markets to improve our market share. So it's not that we have a very high market share in the overseas demand, and hence we are getting affected by it. That's not the case for Tata Autocomp as of now.
So what is the current revenue split between the Tata Group companies and the third-party clients? Will you be increasing the third-party exposure?
Tata Autocomp exposure or the breakup between the business of Tata Autocoms is we are about 30 to 40% of our business comes from Tata Motors. The rest comes from all the other OEMs. We don't call anybody as third party. Every one of our customer is as important as the other. So they are all our direct customers. We supply to all the auto OEMs in India and abroad, and that's the revenue split which I shared with you. 40% goes to Tata Motors and 60% is all non-Tata Motors revenue.
Okay, so that's a split between Tata Motors and non-Tata Motors. But what's the split like between, let's say, four-wheelers, two-wheelers, commercial vehicles? Where do you see the growth coming from here on?
We are well spread out across all these segments. If you take the EV part, also we are well spread out. We have our supplies in all the segments. In the two-wheelers, especially, we supply the lead-acid batteries and seats to a lot of the OEMs in India. And if you take the spectrum down to the trucks and buses, we are also a major supplier of commercial vehicle engine cooling systems, seats, plastic parts, and many of the other components like mirrors and so on into the commercial vehicle segment. So the truck suspensions is also a very big business for us in the commercial vehicle space. So we are well spread out across the whole spectrum. We don't have one segment as we are in overweight in that particular segment. So I don't have the revenue splits to share with you, but we are fairly well spread out across the entire segments from two-wheeler up to the commercial vehicles. If you refer only to the EVs, it's a different story. But I think your question is about the overall auto component segment and not related to the EV, as I see.
And with no major push for electric PV in the recent policy announcements, do you think that will impact sales? What is the outlook for Tata Autocomp's role in terms of what you're going to do in the EV space?
So Tata Autocomp's EV foray was internally we had characterized it as from charging to driving. Okay, so we are manufacturers of chargers. We manufacture the AC chargers, and we are a big supplier to majority of the auto OEMs. We also supply directly to our sister company, which is Tata Power, which installs these chargers. Then we are into the powertrain of EVs, which contains the battery pack and the motors. So we are suppliers to the two-wheeler, three-wheeler, the four-wheelers, and the trucks and buses, as it were. So this entire spectrum is also covered completely by us. This aspect about incentives, the demand side incentives is what you're talking about, or the customer side incentives is what you're talking about, as I understand. Yes, the latest PM eDrive, which was launched early this month as a package, has put a large focus on the two-wheeler and three-wheeler segments, and there's a large amount of money into the charging infrastructure. There's also the delivery trucks as well as the ambulances, which find a mention in this particular new policy. So as far as Tata Autocomp is concerned, we are into all these segments, and we see a great opportunity coming our way.
So, all right, that's the RBI governor who's reached at the RBI headquarters, the man of the moment. This time around, there is very little curiosity, excitement, or even for that matter, assumptions ahead of credit policy, because markets know that there is one side the whole tailwind of what is happening to global interest rates and where inflation is headed. The headwind is sudden developments or geopolitical developments which are happening in the world. The policies, the curiosity levels in and around policies is always high when the government is in a firefighting mode against inflation, when there is something very critical which has happened at the geopolitical level. So I don't think there is something which really could be called as a huge headwind, but there are a lot of tailwinds like global interest rate regime, forex reserves which are at 700 billion. The other tailwind is that the way how things on the economy front also moving. So there are a lot of factors. Okay. So how's Tata? I'm going to go back to our conversation with the management of Tata Com. I mean, Ravi is there. So Ravi, how's the Tata Auto component leveraging on the One Tata initiative to drive group synergies within? And also any updates on Tata Autocomp IPO plans?
I have no comment on the IPO plans, so I'll not be able to say anything about it. On the theme of One Tata, we have, especially on the EV front, we have a word which is coined as Tata Universe. So again, here it's from the charging side up to the driving side. We have a lot of our group companies join into the initiative of promoting the EVs. So we have Tata Power, which is helping in installing the charging infrastructure. As you know, Tata Motors manufactures the passenger cars, trucks, buses as well. And there are other companies which come into the picture in terms of financing, in terms of servicing, and so on. So we have a synergy between all our group companies to promote the EV, and it's I think well publicized and announced for a fairly long time. I don't think it's a new initiative as of this year or last year. It's been there for the last couple of years, since the day we launched the EVs in the Indian market.
Okay, Ravi, thanks so much for making time and speaking with us today and clarifying what exactly is happening at the company level and what the plans of the entire group are when it comes to EV transition, etc.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.